Hi students! In this lesson we are going to discuss typography and how to apply it correctly to your title transformation project. We will review type choice, 4 ways to work with type, how to integrate type with your image, and strategies for putting together successful compositions. Now I'm going to make this easy for you. This project will have a limited amount of typefaces, similar to our newsworthy project. And in my experience, this limitation actually will help you focus on your fundamentals and create better work. So write this down. You'll work with one of the following classic typefaces, and again, these match with the newsworthy project. Here's some quick terminology for review about typefaces. A serif typeface has feet. Take a close look at Baskerville. The A looks like it has feet at the bottom of the letter, and that is called a serif. Now look at Futura. It has no feet, and it is called a sans serif. If you do a comparison, a sans serif like Futura looks modern and clean versus a serif like Baskerville that looks historic and classic. Choosing the correct typeface is crucial. It can honestly ruin your project when chosen incorrectly. Pick a typeface from this list that you think is appropriate in tone and style for your project. Now we're going to review again 4 ways to work with type, and what I'm about to tell you again is really simple and it's obvious, but it is challenging. So keep it simple. Use these 4 typographic principles when creating type compositions. Change in size, change in weight, using upper and lowercase, and changing from one typeface to another. These 4 simple principles will help you come up with endless variations and compositions. These principles also help create hierarchy and emphasis in your designs. I am now going to walk you through different ways to create those typographic combinations. Size is the easiest way to create a good typographic composition. A basic rule is to create type at half size proportions. So in this example, the director type is set at 12 pixels and the director's name is set at 24 pixels. This will give you a good starting point for creating a good typographic composition. In our next example, we'll add one more principle, weight. Just by changing the director's name to bold, we create a better hierarchy and visual emphasis. The next example adds another principle, case. I did a comparison where we changed the case of the director's name and also the word director. The use of all uppercase letters can present a more formal looking design, in contrast to lowercase, which can present a more approachable, playful looking design. It is really important to experiment with upper and lowercase letters to find the right design feel for your sequence. In this example, we'll add a change in face. We will change our typeface from our sans serif Futura to a serif. You can clearly see how this change creates a different tone and mood with the design. It goes from a design that is modern to a design that looks more historic and classic. As the designer, it's important for you to see that simply changing from one typeface to the next can have a great impact on your title sequence design. There are 3 key terms that you need to know when working with type. These terms refer to various ways type can use spacing. Kerning is the distance between 2 letters. Set too closely together, words are illegible. Set too far apart, and they're awkward to read. Worse yet, if some letters have wider spacing and others narrower, it can be frustrating for someone to read without fully understanding what's wrong. Tracking is often confused for kerning, but the concept is a little different. Tracking involves adjusting the spacing throughout the entire word. And leading is an easy one. It refers to the amount of vertical space between the lines of text. In the next 2 examples, we're going to focus on tracking. Look at the example on the left. The word director has been tracked out. In the example on the right, I have tracked out the director's name. I find that tracking of the director's name more visually pleasing, but I'm not sure how it will work in final compositions with an image. That's the beauty of this process. You can make a dozen or so typographic studies, then choose what you think works. Don't just try one. It's a chance to explore before you make a final decision. In the next two examples, we're going to focus on leading. The example on the left looks at a wider vertical spacing between the two words. The example on the right looks at a tighter vertical spacing. The devil is really in the details of type. Incorrect leading can throw your typographic composition off and create issues with legibility. The key takeaway for working with type in your title sequence is, once you have a combination of type that you think works, use that type combination and consistently apply it to all your credits. Don't change the size or vary the combination. Just keep it consistent. Now that you have a combination of typography that you really think works, I want you to investigate how to apply it to an image. Okay, so let's keep this simple. I want you to look for the best place in your image to integrate your type. In these two examples, I align my type off the steeple. One is centered, and one is on the right in the negative space. In this example, on the left, the type aligns off the cross. And on the right, it aligns in the negative space on the left. Negative space is simply the space that surrounds the subject or focal point. Why do these compositions work? Well, it starts with the correct image choice. If we look closely at the church image, it has a clear focal point and has plenty of negative space around the image for our type. Here are two ways to create compositions for your project. The first is using alignment. You can use alignment between each composition. Also consider using the rule of thirds. Remember, the rule of thirds is when we break our image down into a grid, and placing important elements such as horizons and points of interest closer to those lines or intersections. Using the rule of thirds will help create better compositions because it will force your compositions to be more dynamic as you direct the viewer's eye around the frame. The second is based on image. Create a design where the type is placed in a negative space in each composition. You will be looking for harmony and balance, where the type seems comfortable in the composition. This strategy allows for the type placement to vary between compositions. In this student example, three things are working really well. Number one, the type is always comfortable where it's placed in the composition. It sits in the negative space and has plenty of room. The type always follows a horizontal alignment between the frames. Consistency, consistency, consistency. The type is always consistent. There are no changes in scale, weight, case, or face between each frame design. The student exercised control and presented their titles professionally. And last but not least, the student worked with excellent photography. It is all about having the right photograph. They edit out extra information and use cropping to create beautiful compositions. The example you're looking at is our end design goal. In the next few lessons, we'll go through the process of how to build an example just like this one. Our lesson has now come to an end. We reviewed type choice, 4 ways to work with type, how to integrate type with your image, and strategies for putting together successful image and type compositions. Your challenge is to create typographic combinations for your title transformation project. At a minimum, create 3 combinations for the director, and these will be studies. In those combinations, you will need 2 pieces of type. For example, the word director and also your director's name. Once you have a few combinations you like, your second challenge will be to create practice compositions with type and image. I wish you all the best of luck in your type explorations. Have a great day.